Hi, my name is Abby Lucius. I'm the Community Development Manager at Community Clinic and a Certified Tobacco Treatment Specialist.
And my name is Amanda Eddy, and I work here at Community Clinic underneath the Northwest Arkansas Tobacco and Drug Free Coalition. I work as a tobacco prevention specialist and also am a certified tobacco treatment specialist.
So we're here today to kind of do an introduction on what is tobacco as far as the dangers that it poses to our body, physically, mentally, and then kind of talk about the building steps in later videos to kind of guiding you through your journey to tobacco cessation. So Amanda's going to start us off with right now talking about what does tobacco use physically do to the human body. And there is a huge number of things that we see occur in the human body when you become addicted to tobacco products like cigarettes and chewing tobacco and even e-cigarettes. But she's going to go over some of the biggest issues that we see in people who are heavy tobacco users.
Yes, for sure. So tobacco use in particular impacts almost every single organ system within the body, from the lungs to your skin to your heart. Reproductive organs are impacted. It impacts your mouth, your teeth. And so we're kind of going to go through a little bit how exactly each organ system gets impacted. So the first one we always think about is the lungs. Your lungs are incredibly sensitive organs. They're designed to exchange gases with your blood system. And so because of that, with tobacco use, it really can do a lot of damage to your lungs, especially now with what's going on with COVID-19 in particular. People that are heavy smokers are at a huge increased risk of getting very negatively impacted because their lungs already experience that damage. So with the lungs, we see COPD, which is chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, emphysema, susceptible to getting pneumonia and bronchitis infections, and even lung cancer. So the lungs are heavily impacted by tobacco use. With that, we also see the cardiovascular system. So that's your blood vessels, your heart. People that smoke are at an increased risk of strokes and other cardiovascular health issues because smoking increases your blood pressure as well as your heart rate. And we'll kind of get more into when you quit smoking, how those can be improved upon. And then also it impacts your skin. People that smoke, they experience aging faster because smoking can actually damage the collagen within your skin. And that collagen is what kind of keeps wrinkles at bay. And so it kind of eats away at that collagen a lot quicker. So people that smoke tend to experience heavier aging process. We also see that tobacco greatly impacts the reproductive health systems. Men can experience erectile dysfunction or other sorts of dysfunctions with tobacco use, and the same with women. They could experience some issues when it comes to sex or anything like that. And the same goes with your eyes as well. Smoking greatly impacts your eye health. People that smoke are at a greater risk of developing macular degeneration, which is a really dangerous eye disease that can lead to blindness. And if you smoke, you're at a great risk of that. And so those are just some of the things that can get impacted immediately when it comes to smoking and tobacco use. Cigarettes themselves contain about 7,000 chemicals. And of those chemicals, we know that at least 70 contain cancer-causing agents. And the rest of the chemicals could be really dangerous as well. And so Abby will talk a little bit more about the mental aspect and how exactly tobacco use can lead to dependence.
Well, that was a lot of information, and some of it is a little frightening to think about.
Yeah, for sure.
All of your body being affected by this.
Yes.
So I was going to go over what actually happens in your brain when you're using these tobacco products. And this is something that you might not have heard about before, but might make a lot of sense when we actually get into the weeds about how to actually quit using tobacco products and utilizing nicotine replacement therapies to aid in that process. So when we use a tobacco product, say a combustible cigarette, When we burn that product, there's an active chemical change happening, and that's what allows us to begin absorbing the nicotine from that product. It then turns into a substance called cotinine. The cotinine can then travel to our brain, and we all have little receptors in our brain that bind with all kinds of different chemicals and hormones that trigger different reactions in our brain and other parts of our body. When we use tobacco products, we actually develop little nicotine receptors that form in our brain. And those nicotine receptors bind directly with the nicotine from those cigarettes. When we use a lot of tobacco products, say we smoke a pack a day for 20 years and we really can't make it through the morning without grabbing our cup of coffee and our pack of cigarettes, it's because all of those receptors are flashing in our brain saying we need nicotine to bind to us. Once nicotine binds with that receptor, it releases endorphins, and that's what makes us feel so good after we take that first drag in the morning from our cigarette. We might not actually be aware that we have other nicotine receptors in other parts of our body. In fact, our colon has nicotine receptors. That's why oftentimes when people wake up in the morning, they have their first cigarette and a cup of coffee, and then they have to go to the bathroom really quickly. So we develop these receptors all over our body, and those receptors really don't go away. That's what forms that major dependence inside of us. There's other forms of dependence that we can experience as well. There's different triggers that we can see in our household or in our car that we will immediately think, without even realizing, that we're trying to grab for our cigarettes or for our lighter or for our can of dip because we don't feel comfortable proceeding with other activities that we normally do without grabbing those products. So we're going to go over more of these behaviors in some later videos, but we really wanted to lay the foundation of what tobacco does to your body and what's going on inside your brain. That really makes it a really hard journey for people to quit smoking on their own or quit using dip tobacco on their own. So we wanted this to be more of a tool that anyone can utilize at any point in their journey to kind of help them down that path.
Yeah, for sure.
If you wouldn't mind to tune in to our next video, this next video is going to talk a little bit more about really preparing to quit smoking. What tools do you need? How do we set some really good goals that are attainable? And what other questions some people might come up with?
Yeah. And so if you'd like, you can follow us at NWA TDFC. We post a lot of tobacco prevention content, and also follow us at Community Clinic NWA as well. But we'll be tuning in with more videos to kind of go more in depth about the benefits of quitting. We'll talk about how to set goals. This video, as Abby said, is really just a way for us to kind of talk about how tobacco impacts our body and how we develop this nicotine dependence when we utilize these products. So we're looking forward to kind of going more in depth in our later videos, and so feel free to tune in.
And feel free to leave any comments of additional questions or topics that you'd like us to cover.
Yeah. All right.
We'll see you later.
Bye.